Hello and welcome back to NWCL Beyond the Boundary. I'm Cobb Donnelly, and today I'm joined by Little Cricket Club's first team captain. It is Josh Gent. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Not bad, mate. How are yourself?
I'm very well, thank you very much. So obviously we had you on last season, so if you don't know Josh, you can go and have a look back at that. But we'll just go straight into last season and we'll start off with your league and T20 results. So in the league, you finished third behind obviously Social Circle won it and Reed came in close second. And T20 were also finalists. So can you kind of give us a bit run through that season, take away? We'll talk about your Himmer Cup in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that we was before the season. I thought like we'd be really in with the shout of winning it. And then we started off really well. I think we beat Tongue comfortably first game, and then Eagley away second game. Both pretty easy wins actually. Like when I say easy, it's never easy. But what I mean is like we won fairly comfortably in both games, and they were both away from home. And the pro stood out in both games. I think in both games, I think in the first game he had 98 and 7 for, and then I think in the second game he had 80 odd and 6 for. And we were like, Jesus, this guy's going to be like, he's going to he's unreal, like, and we thought we kicked on from there, but as cricket does, reality checks in. We played our first home match. I think we played Salisbury at home. I think we lost in a close game against Salisbury. Um, and then I think we might have gone to Kersley and got beat in a close game at Kersley. I think we like played two, lost 1-2, lost two. And then it was like, this is tough. And Reed had won all four. I think Social might have been similar or might have lost one or whatever. And we were sort of like chasing all the time then. But a few things didn't really go our way like throughout the season. No excuses about like that, but like Curtis got injured twice, we're out for a good for I would say probably near enough half a season he were out for in total. Our other opening bowler and our number three batter Mucky, he got injured. Um, I think he was before halfway in the season, and he missed all the season. Curtis came back, but then got injured again. Um, so we were like our two opening bowlers and our number three batsman sort of like out of the picture for half of the season, which is unfortunate, but that's just cricket.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody and anyone. It's part and parcel of the game, innit? But it didn't help matters at all, especially in some games where we lost a couple of really close games, and it was down to our bowling. Our bowling were nowhere near as strong as it normally is. We were
Yeah.
always pretty decent with the bat. We sort of like always posted a goal score or chased down pretty much anything. We just our bowling that let us down really.
Hmm. So obviously, you mentioned the league. Then we'll talk about how good Reed were, how social were, and pretty much the whole league, how competitive it was. But in terms of your T20 success, obviously you didn't quite win it. You was finalists. You were very close game against Reed. I think it went down to like the second or third last ball of the game. It was a bit of a nightmare. First finals day got called off. You had to come back again. But how, despite not winning it, how good was it to see you getting to the final in the T20 Cup?
Yeah, and we threw the game away, didn't we? We were sort of like pretty close game, and then 5 overs left. We were massive favourites. I would have thought until probably the second to last over, and then as 2020 does, the game can swing in the matter of an over, can't it, in 6 balls, and it did. And fair play to Reed, they capitalised straight on it, and that's what they do. They're a good side. And you play in
Yeah.
good sides, that's what happens. You make one mistake and they'll jump all over you, and that's what happened in that game. And fair play to Reed, well done. They deserved it in the end. But yeah, brilliant to get to a final. Don't get me wrong, but it's no good that just getting to a final. You got to win them.
Yeah. Well, we'll move to some brighter news. Obviously, last year you had a cup success, which was Obviously, brilliant for you. You lost in 2024 to Reed this year. It was at Reed, but you played Padiham. You've obviously won the Premiership. You've won the T20 Cup a few years ago, and now you're in the Halo Cup. How good was it to actually get that trophy after, being a Bolton League kind of stalwart?
Yeah. Obviously, I think personal accolades aside, the biggest thing for me was that the club hadn't won it for something like 65 years or 56. I don't know, for 56 or 60 for a long time anyway. The club hadn't won the Emma Cup for a very long time. So for us to actually, to go to Reed and beat Paddy in the final and win it was brilliant. Just not just for the team, but the club as a whole, and people who have been involved in the club for a long time. Who've played there for a long time and not seen that. It was brilliant for them to all be there and see that happen. That we'd won it, because there'd be a lot of people there who've been watching Little League for a long time and not seen them win that. So it was a fantastic day, and Reed put an absolute belter of a day on at their place for the final, and the weather was, you couldn't have asked for a better day for cricket. It was just phenomenal. Great pitch, great crowd, great atmosphere. And Paddy and give us a good game. It was just a crazy game of cricket, really. Like for the first innings, we thought like, that's some score, but I remember seeing Will Reed's captain at the tea interval, and he said, "Don't think it's over." He said, "I'm telling you now, on Reed, don't think it's over on a wicket with a wicket like that. It's a really fast scoring ground, and for about, it might have been about 40 minutes, but it seemed about 3 or 4 hours. The pro was when Paddyham's pro was in, and every ball was just clearing not the ground, the houses across the road, and they were going everywhere. And I was thinking, oh God, this is another one. But nah, it was great on the day. We had a good day and a good celebration after. It was fantastic.
Brilliant. And obviously, you mentioned how good the weather was, and the wicket was just fantastic. Reed is a small ground, like you said, but Cam got yourself a century. If it Riley got a century as well, your sub pro Diego Rossier got 80 odd for like 40 balls, something like that. Obviously, you're thinking, you know what, you've got a very good scorer here. We still have to do our job. But I remember Paddy didn't get off to a fast start, but when Ifty came in, he was absolutely whacking him, like you said. I know Reed has small boundaries, but like you said, he was whacking him everywhere. I'm interviewed Andy Fleer after that game, and we're speaking about whether he felt it was the game. The game was still won, even with Ifty still whacking him. When you was watching them going over your head, because there was some clean shots as well. We've seen like Jamil Stewart, for example, very clean hit of ball. Would you say Ifty's hitting, would you say that's one of the cleanest strikes of ball you've ever seen from a player?
Yeah, certainly playing against there was as big as I've ever seen. Consistently as well, playing against someone, and just like effortless as well. It was
Yeah.
yeah, fair play to the guy. He can whack a ball. He's when he gets going and gets in, I always feel like you've got a chance with him actually, because it's the way he plays. But I was glad that he did give a chance, because it might have been a different outcome other than that. And as you were talking about Andy Fleer, it was a great catch under pressure as well. Like, it went right, really high. I wouldn't want it to be underneath that. And
Yeah.
Andy made it look easy. It was it was a good day, and fair play to Ifty. He made a game of it really, because without him doing that, it'd have been, well, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as close, would it? So he, yeah, fair play to the lad. He can play, that guy.
Yeah. And we're going to another player who did very well last season. That was obviously your Camry, new signing for you last season from Kersley. I don't think anyone, we all knew Cam was a very good player, but I don't think anyone expected him to do as well as he did. 1,300 runs, 41 wickets for someone who's mainly a batter. How good was he last season, and how much did he contribute to your success last season?
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes without saying, doesn't it? I mean, we got to two finals, finished third in the league. it's a great effort, and without Cam's efforts, we probably wouldn't have got as far as that. Um, I mean, 1,300 runs. I mean, even for any kind of professional overseas, I mean, that's just a phenomenal season, isn't it? So yeah, it was great, and I think that probably Cam would probably tell you himself that I think to get 1,300 runs, it's not a fluke. You've obviously got it, haven't you? Um, to get anywhere near that, you've got it. So I think maybe a change did him good. Coming, moving, maybe the move did him good, and it just sort of revitalised him and got him going again. Sometimes you can get in a bit of a rut. I don't know whether that helped him, new challenges, stuff like that. But yeah, he was great. He's a top guy, good mate, great lad, top player. And even with the ball, like you can throw it ball and he'll do you a job.
Hmm.
It's 41 wickets. I mean, fair play to him. Like, I never expected anything like 41 wickets from Cam. I thought we might just throw him on every now and again and he'd pick a few up, but if he'd have got 20, I'd have been happy. So 41 wickets as well as the runs was phenomenal, and he's a great pair of hands as well.
Yeah, and obviously last you got a new overseas player this year, which we'll go into in a minute. But Riley last year had a fantastic season, and he opened with Cam. Both of them, mainly Riley was a very attacking player, and at Little League, especially straight boundaries, who really made use of it. How good was it to see? In that first 5, 6, 7 overs, you'd be going out almost 8, 9 and over.
Oh yeah, I mean, doing it. I mean, you've seen in that final when them two get going, there's no stopping them. But if I was playing against them two, maybe more so Riley because he's ultra aggressive, you'd always have a think to yourself, you're in with a shout of getting him out because the way that he plays gives you chances. But such a shame that it's such a shame. In one respect, like obviously we've got a new overseas and stuff like that, which we're looking forward to playing with. And we've met him already, which is a good thing and stuff like that. But I always thought to myself, if Riley came back this season, if he'd have come back, I thought he'd have been even better than he was last season. In fact, a lot better. He sort of like got it towards the end, sort of worked it out a bit. So I thought he'd have been really, really impressive. If he'd have come back, I thought he'd have worked it out and gone on and made more runs than he did do this year. But things happen and stuff like that. And fortunate for him, he had a little lad, and which came as a bit of a surprise. But he's gone back to Australia and he's doing well with a kid and stuff, and he's still playing his cricket, and we're still speaking things, which is great. But yeah, I was gutted that he couldn't come back in a way. But it's brought us on to someone new now, which we're looking forward to as well.
Yeah, and last season when we interviewed, you were talking about how good the junior section was at Little League, and this year you had kind of a bit of breakout year for young Callum Hill. He started playing first team cricket, obviously with Curtis getting injured. He took 14 wickets in first and not a lot of games, 57 wickets across all teams, all comps. Where do you see him going this year, and do you see any other junior players breaking through this year as well?
Um, Yeah, Callum did really well when he came in. Like we knew he can bowl. Callum, he takes wickets for fun in second team and stuff like that. But it's a different pressure in it coming in and bowling it first team against you know bigger and better players and people who put a lot more pressure on you, professionals overseas, this, that, and the other. And I thought he handled it really well. He's one thing with Callum is he is a confidence player. If he gets on a bit of a run with stuff, he gets really he bowls really well. So with Kurt being injured, it brought that. That was one good thing that came out of someone being injured is that he stepped up and showed that he can do it at that level. So we'll be we'll be using Callum again this year for sure in numerous games and stuff. Whether he plays every week or whether he doesn't, or whether he plays in some games and then we use him for making sure he gets a ball. If he's unlikely to bowl, then he maybe drop him back down or whichever way. I mean, the thing is, if he comes in and does well, he's going to turn around and go, "You can't drop me now." So that's what you want. It's going to be a bit of a selection headache with a few different things, but that's what we want.
Yeah. So now moving forward into this season, obviously season starts in just short of a month's time. Can you talk about your new signings, your expectations, your pro and overseas?
Yeah, the pro is called JP King. He's plays for the Warriors, which is his like club in South Africa, which is Port Elizabeth, basically. He plays for Sunrisers Eastern Cape in the SA20. Um, he bowls off spin and he's a right hand bat. He's done really well in the South African domestic season. He scored a few hundreds and he's done really well. We're looking forward to having him over. He looks a very exciting prospect and it looks like he can play all format cricket, so he'll be decent. We've done a bit of homework and found out a bit before we signed him, and we think he'll be the guy for us. So we're looking forward to seeing him. And um, the overseas is actually a friend of the pros. Jade Smith plays at the same club as the pro, but like club cricket level. Um, he also represented South Africa under 19s as well in his younger years. Like he never played first class, or obviously he's amateur, but he never went on from that. But we're looking forward to having him over. He's over now already. He plays hockey as well, so he's playing hockey down in Exeter or something for a couple of weeks, and then he's coming up at the end of March. But we trained with him last week. He came up. Yeah, he flew into Manchester, picked him up. He stayed over, trained, then went down to Exeter the next day. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Them two are friends as well. They'll be living together, so things should work out pretty good with them. So yeah, we're excited. It should be good. It's the first time we've had a South African pro or overseas for a long while at Little Lever. So yeah, it should. We're looking forward to it.
Brilliant. And on to your amateurs, and to my knowledge, I know you at least got one junior amateur for a door, James Richards from Eagly. He had a fantastic season last year, captain Eagly. Fortunately, to get relegated, but also he had a very good season. How good are you expecting him to be this year?
I hope he don't bring them traits with him. Nah, he's obviously a good player. I think he got amateur player of the season last year. So we know he's a good player. We played against him for long enough, and he's a great lad. And we're looking forward to taking him on board and seeing what he can do for us. And he's been training all winter with us and stuff like that. We know how good he is anyway. He's just got to go out there and just get his head down and do his thing, and that'll be good enough. I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, it's a good signing. We were well pleased with that. That was one we were looking for, and we managed to sort out. So it was good.
Brilliant. So obviously last season was very competitive, like we said before. Coming to this season, we seem to have, got better. Social have re-signed Jamil Stewart for another 3 years, I think. And I think what big signing for me, what surprised me, Kurz are bringing back Byron. He had an extremely good year season before last. How do you see this season going in terms of, promotion, relegation, everything like that?
Um, my honest opinion is I have no idea of who will be doing getting promoted or who will be getting relegated. What I would say is I reckon the top 5 or 6 will be ultra competitive. As in, I don't think there'll be much in it. I think there'll be. I don't think like there'll be like runaway teams like last year. I don't think Social or like Reed or us will go like. I mean, Reed went. Did they go like over the first half of the nearly the first
Yeah, I
half
think
of the
so, yeah.
season without losing a game? I mean, it might happen, but I just don't think that'll happen this year. I think every year in this league it's getting more and more competitive. I think this year, I think there'll be a lot more to play for more teams. I think because like last year, like the top two really just like stormed away with it. But I think this year, I think there'll be 4 or 5 teams in it
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, and last season, Social won the league. Your good friend Jimmy Stewart obviously had an outstanding year with the bat and ball. You know, we all knew he was a very very good player, but do you think he even excelled better than he thought he would last year? Better than you thought he would?
Um, I don't think so. No, I think every year that you look at his stats, he does the same sort of thing. He's consistently fantastic, isn't he? Like if you look at his stats, they're unreal. He does it every year. He did it. Obviously, he did it last year, but he done it every year. It's just so that happened that it all clicked last year and they've won something.
Hmm.
But he does the same thing pretty much every year. I don't think he did anything out of the ordinary last year. I know he did, like sometimes like he'll go through little purple patches where he gets 100, or whatever. But I think, yeah, he was brilliant, but he's brilliant pretty much every season anyway. So you've got to give a bit of credit to some of the other guys as well around him, who played in the team. So, because he does that every year. So if people back him up, I think it just showed last year that what they can do as a team.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
showed, didn't it? They went on and won it. And before the season, I probably wouldn't have said that they would. I
yeah,
knew Reed would have been up there, and I knew they would be strong. But I didn't think Social would have been as strong as what they were. And fair play to them, they did, and they went on and won it. And
yeah,
lads, well,
and
don't get me wrong, you sign a pro to do them sort of things, don't you? But he
yeah.
just does them. He just does them on a different level consistently. It's really good. So fair play to him.
Exactly, and obviously he averaged 100 last year. No comes to what I can't remember exactly what section it was in, but like you said, Chris Lane picked up 400 runs. Max Perry, David Song, Dave Marvell, as well picked up some wickets, and Chris Barrow did very well in the games he played. Probably a few others I can't think of, but they did battles without an overseas amateur, a proper overseas amateur. I don't know, how it all worked. So it even shows how good they were all together last year. You
They've got
know,
an overseas amateur this year as well. Now they've got an overseas this year.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm interviewing Chris Walsh, and hopefully, in a week or two, so he should be able to go through that.
yeah,
But in the last section, so yesterday I did speak to one of your teammates about some funny stories that happened in the last 12 months or so. So the first one was, and I'll put a clip on the screen so people can see what actually happened. But you mentioned your game against Kersey last year, and Adil Nassar got out first ball, and so he was a runner for Cam. I assume he got injured, and first ball as a runner, he decided, well, he didn't decide, but he ran Cam out. Apparently it was a funny wicket. It looked very funny on camera. How odd was that last season?
what the run out?
Yeah.
What made it more funny was it was Cam's return to Kersley, first game against Kersley, and he just hit the ball to mid off, and Naz is like at Cam's end, obviously like wait, and he just set off running, and Riley just sends him back. Cam still stood there, and then Bowler just throws it straight back to keeper and runs him out. But
Wow.
you've got to put the clip on and watch that. It's fucking hilarious. That it's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. It's
What
great.
the Clippers now is, especially Dale, 50 years old, absolutely steaming down the track. Absolutely unbelievable. And I've heard that you and Naz have had previous history with runouts. Have you at Tongue about 10 years ago? I'll put a photo on screen now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We did. That was that was nearly that nearly cost us the game. That, to tell you the truth, we um we played against. It was at Tonga, and it wa- it was a testing Tom wicket, to say the least.
Always.
Tonga batted first. I can't remember what they got. It might have been about 160, 170 maybe. Adil had batted through for about 69, 70 not out, something like that. And I'd gone out to bat, and Adil had not went into leg side for one. And we were both watching the ball, like running, but watching the ball. and like literally just went head first straight into each other. Adil were like knocked out on the floor and got run out. he just like he were on the floor.
Oh,
He just looked up like he just looked up at me. He's like he's got his hands in air looking up. I
oh,
was like, but he grafted for about 40, 30 or 40 overs for that as well.
wow,
Thought we
brilliant.
thought it was disaster, but we knocked him off in the end. But yeah, that was a good one. That
Yeah. But you have to mention Adonis, our Bolton League legend, fantastic player. Even now, did fantastic things last year. Some player for you to still have playing for you. But the next story I got told, and I'm quite curious to know what this story is actually about, is your questionable skills with the dog slinger in the nets, and apparently your prime bowler Curtis Anderson apparently runs a mile when he sees it.
Curtis runs a mile at most things. If you clap your hands too much, he'll run. Uh, yeah. Who have you been speaking to?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Nah, I've got better with it. I must admit.
Very good. So it's just instead of a ball and you throw it in the batter.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's Cam.
Say no
we,
answers.
we we net together on a Tuesday, just me and Cam, and obviously we use the dog slinger, but I've pinned him a few times this year.
Wow.
He's been on all fours a few times, like lay there screaming because I've
Wow.
pinned him with it. But yeah,
One way to learn. So yeah, and the last one. No, I've got a clip on here. I've been sent this clip and I'll add this on the screen now. Is played Farnworth a couple of years ago, and apparently you never stopped talking about the Jaffa that you bowled that got Neil Hyde out.
yeah, he's retired. It retired him. He's never played since. Neil, you're an
Wow.
absolute jaffer. That was
Wow.
it.
You're
I
going
don't
off.
blame him actually. If I, like one of them things, I just tweet one of, in swinging off cutting Yorker. I think it was or something like that. It was a great
Wow.
ball.
Should be bowling more than shouldn't you?
No, no, that was it. Then I retired myself from bowling after that. Neil just retired full stop.
Well, well, that's not a bad way to that's a pretty bad way to go out there. But
No,
yeah.
I
So
like that clip. We play it every now and again.
that's brilliant. You should see. I don't know who it was, but someone running from the boundary. You see running across the camera and just like couldn't believe what was going on.
That was the
Brilliant.
pro. That was our pro Sam Fanning. Loved it.
Oh wow, wow. And one thing I do want to mention is you have. I don't know if you've. I'm guessing you've worked on this over the last few years, but you like to do the ramp shot quite a lot. I think obviously in the Hamer Cup final last year, I think last ball of the innings, you ramped it for four. I think in a T20 game against Curly, perhaps you ramped it for six. But is that something you've really tried to work on in the last few years?
Yeah, I've struggled hit it in front of me, so I've started hitting it behind me now. See if I can hit it any better. Nah, it's just I think just netting a lot in the winter, which we tend to do, um, and stuff. You just tend to, you've plenty of time and you try new things and stuff, and ended up trying it a few times in games and it worked.
Mm,
But I think everyone cottoned onto it now and they just have a fine legs straight away. I'm
yeah.
gonna have to
Well, I
try
think
and
it's
find something else.
oh, I think it's more applicable to leave, obviously, with your short boundaries straight. You have you play at especially at Tong, you another alongside. You're not gonna. It's unlikely you're gonna
No,
get all the
no.
way. So, obviously it's much more applicable at Lee and it gives you that additional kind of shot that you can play. But yeah, I
I
think I
think
think that's really good. So going into this season, obviously I know Leicester will want to win every trophy you have on offer to you. Obviously you've got the Lancs knockouts. I'm not sure your opponent in that.
we've got Walsden at Walsden.
Hmm. You hoping to go find that competition, Ben?
Yeah, I just say the same thing. You know, whichever competition we're in, we'll be aiming to win it. And
Mm,
if we get on a bit of a run in it, then brilliant. But it's a very tough competition. There's no bad sides in it, so it's uh, it's going to be tough. But that's what the competition's there for, isn't it? To go and test yourselves. So we'll be looking forward to that, and I'm
yeah.
sure we'll make a good account of ourselves.
Mm, brilliant. So, obviously, season starts 18th of April for those who are not sure. Hopefully we'll get some sunny weather between now and then. It's been warming up the last couple of days. But yeah, I think that's everything I've got written down. Is there anything that you'd like to mention before we finish?
No, that's it. That's all good. Nice one.
Brilliant.
Thanks a lot.
No worries. So I'll thanks for coming on, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Bye.